BangsCubs.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we're going to be looking at about that team and answering them in our August 20th preseason preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And tonight, Dan, we're talking about the Bangs Dragons.
Yeah, this is a Banks program that struggled a little bit in Coach Colton Buzzard's first season. They went 2-8, but that was not necessarily a surprise. That was kind of a foundation laying program a foundation laying season for a program that had struggled a little bit. So this is a program that will be trying to make gains now in the second year under Coach Buzzard, and they've got a pretty good group with which to do it. 15 of 24 Letterman return from last year's team, including 8 offensive and 5 defensive starters. So a solid group to build from there. Obviously, they're going to have some questions to answer. Any team coming off a 2-8 type season will, and we'll address some of those here in a little bit. But should be an interesting season for Bangs, and what I think is one of the area's more interesting districts.
All right. Before we start talking about Bangs, we want to remind you folks to please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It's free. And then also hit the little bell, which will give you notifications each and every time that we come up with a new video here on YouTube. And with that, Dan, it's time to dive in to the Bangs Dragons football season that's coming up with some key questions about it. What's the first one that you have?
I think the big one is just how much of a step forward can we see in year two under Coach Buzzard out there? I think anytime you have a first-time head coach taking over a program that struggled a little bit, you expect some growing pains. So again, that 2-8 record last year was not a major surprise. We kind of knew it would probably be a little bit of tough sledding for them, but it's that second year a lot of times where you start to see kind of the progress and start to see kind of the vision that a new coach has. And I'm interested to see if that could be the case this year. Like I said at the beginning of the video tonight, they've got a solid group back. They did lose 9 Letterman, but they got 15 returning, including most of their offense, 8 offensive starters back, running that wing T of theirs. And then defensively, they've got 5 starters, so at least a foundation to build from. So I'm just interested to see from a culture standpoint, from a mentality standpoint, from just a recall standpoint, how much progress we're going to see in the second year under Coach Buzzard as opposed to that first year. Because a lot of that first year is often just laying the foundation. It's just getting your kids set, up to date, up to speed with the expectations you have for your program, with the terminology you have in your program, and then that second year they come back with all of that knowledge, and you start to see the improvement. So I'm interested to see if that's the type of year we can get from Bangs this year.
One of the questions that people may have about this Bangs team is a defense that only returns 5 starters. And indeed, that is a question. But you know what? With eight starters coming back on that wing T offense of theirs, if that wing T takes a step forward with all these kids coming back, 8 of them coming back, it's going to chew up so much clock that young defense will have a backup. The offense itself will be supporting them. A good wing T offense that executes becomes a form of defense. So I wouldn't be too worried about that young defense that the Dragons have as much as can they execute the wing T the way it's supposed to be run at a high level? And if they can, with all those kids coming back, um, the defenders will be sitting there all night drinking water, on the sidelines. It can be that frustrating, to play a good wing T team.
Yeah, and Banks has kind of an ace in the hole there when you talk about that wing T and an offensive coordinator and Rusty Buzzard, Buzzard's father, a longtime head coach, had a lot of success at Coleman years and years ago. So you're talking about a veteran presence there leading that offense. So that's a big advantage as well. The third question I would have pertains to that district that Bangs is in, Districts 5 2A D1. Uh, we've talked about it yesterday when we talked about Ballinger. That is a meat grinder of a district, one of the most competitive districts in all of the big country. I mean, it will be a dogfight for those 4 playoff spots. So my question is, even if Bangs does take the step forward they're hoping to, even if they are in a position maybe to challenge for a playoff spot, can they get over the hump in that district to actually get one of those 4 playoff spots? Because you've got that is truly a district where you've got six teams that think that they should be in the playoffs at the end of the season. So I'm interested to see if Bangs can take enough of a step forward to where they can knock off a couple of those teams that are entering the season as playoff hopefuls. But that's going to be a fun race, and we'll talk about the schedules here in a little bit. But that is going to be a fun race, and it's going to be a tough race for everyone involved.
All right. As Dan mentioned, we're going to be speaking about the Bang schedule here momentarily. But before we do that, we need to thank some of our sponsors. Beginning with For the Love of the Game Broadcasting and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Brackenridge, 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Bracken, KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is For the Love of the Game Broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a used vehicle, call Rob. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. Give him a shout at 254 559 2266. That's Rob Durham up at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. And finally, Cavalry Resources and Construction, located up in Breckenridge, serving the entire big country, offering custom standing seam roofing made on location and all commercial roofing applications. Give Kobe Walker a shout at 254 246 5546. That is Cavalry Resources and Construction in Breckenridge. All right, and with that, it's time to take a look at the 2025 schedule for the Bangs Dragons. We'll start in the non-district portion, which is rather challenging. It's a lot of road dates, Dan, for Bangs. They start off on the road twice. First on August 29th at Early, then a week later facing Merkel on the road. Their home opener isn't until September the 12th when they face San Angelo Grape Creek. They'll also host an Abilene TLCA on September 19th, followed by a road date at Colorado City on the 26th before diving into the open date. But I do like that even though it's a lot of road dates, there are winnable games there on that schedule for the Dragons, an opportunity to gain some confidence before jumping into a tough district.
Yeah, and if Banks takes a step forward, you could potentially, win three, four, maybe even all five non-district games, and that would be a huge boost going into district, which opens on October 10th at Ballinger. And then another road date at Heiko on October 17th. They come home to play Hamilton on the 24th of October, go to DeLeon on Halloween, October 31st, and they wrap up their district schedule with a home game against Coleman on November 7th. So six road dates on that schedule. That's a pretty tough road to hoe there when you only got the four home games, but a favorable non-district schedule, but you still do have to go on the road a lot.
Right, and with that, it's time to look at what we think is going to be the game of the year for Bangs. And in this district, that's not going to be easy to pick. So I'll let you go first, Dan.
I'm going to go with those first two. They're both road games, but I think those are huge games for them at Ballinger, at Heiko. If you're going to compete for a playoff spot in this district, you probably got to win at least one of those. If you win one of those, it gives you a chance. Hamilton, DeLeon are going to be tough. I think those two teams are probably going to be fighting at the top of the district, but it gives you maybe a chance to play for a district for a playoff spot at home against Coleman in that final week. But I think those first two are the two that just jump out to me. That if you need to win at least one, maybe both. And the good thing is you'll be coming off that non-district schedule. That if you do get some wins, get some confidence, maybe you'll go into those with some momentum. But those are huge games for me, both on the road, Ballinger, Heiko.
Every game in this league is going to be tough and a key game. But if Bang's intention is to win the district championship, that home finale against Coleman on November the 7th will be a must win. They're going to have to win that if they want to win the district championship, if that's their intention. If they simply want a playoff spot, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Those first two games in district on the road at Ballinger and Heiko become very, very important. They're going to be important anyway, win the district championship or not. But they're going to be very important just to make the
Yeah.
playoffs.
But this district is we talked about it yesterday.
Take your pick.
No, it's
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. I mean, you've got Hamilton has taken a giant step forward in recent years. Was very good last year. Won the region championship. So Hamilton's obviously a really tough challenge. DeLeon has just continued to get better and better. They'll have a new coach this year, but continue to get better and better. Yeah, it's just there are no gimmies in this district. No layups whatsoever.
All right. And with that, it's about time to wrap up this edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, The Bangs Dragons. But before we do that, we want to remind you that August 20th is the big day here at Big Country Preps. That's the day we release our annual preseason preview featuring team previews of all the teams that we cover, all 45 11-man teams. And we also deliver more than 40 player features, which is a ton of material for you. We'll have district predictions. We'll have opinion pieces, some columns in there as well, tons of stats. Everything you want in a football preview for the big country is in there, and a number of teams on the outside of the big country, too, just on the outside of it. Anyway, we appreciate it. And don't forget to join us August 20th. That's the big day.
In the meantime, thank you for joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series. And make sure you return tomorrow when we take a look at the Coleman Blue Cats here at BigCountryPreps.com.